Hello, welcome back to Crossing Cultures with Christina Luna. And today I'm so lucky to have somebody in person that some of you know, some of you might not, but she's an amazing person, has a lot of expertise in many areas. And her name is Corissa Gehring. Hello, Corissa.
Hello, Christina. Thanks for having me on location.
And thank you for being here on the show here in location. Um, Today we're going to talk about, crossing cultures like usual, what our guests have experienced with other cultures, other people, or other locations. And also we're going to talk about death. Yeah, it's coming, Halloween is coming, but we are never prepared to talk about death. Sometimes we're not prepared to have our things ready for our loved ones if something happens to us, or like if something happens to anybody else, like we are not ready and we're in shock. So there's some things we have to know, and Carissa experienced it firsthand. So she will tell us her own experience and what she learned from it. And on the second part, we're going to have Halloween. Halloween. This girl loves Halloween. So she's going to give us some tips about how to make our costumes from the things we have in our closet. She went to my closet. You can lead it in like behind the scenes video that we did earlier. And she will give us some tips because you don't need to spend a lot of money. You can be creative, and she is a very creative person, and we brought that with us. And of course, we'll have confessions, confessions, and hopefully we can get hold of our friend Karen of SBG Radio in the Poconos.
Love
She has a paranormal
She has some stories.
a story, a very powerful story, but we will have to wait and sure. So, Carissa, tell me about a little bit about your crossing cultures experience. What have you learned traveling to other places? Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, Christina, you've helped me cross a lot of cultures, and I thank you for that. As I was coming out into the world, I was lucky enough to join you in Barcelona and crossing Spain, I guess it
To the
was.
south.
Yeah, and I just travel for the food and the views and the people, and I I remember having an amazing time. That, and I've been to Shanghai, China, to visit a friend who taught English there. We recently went to, and I don't know if it counts, but an eco resort in Mexico for my mom's 60th last year, and loved the food down there and the people and the liveliness, honestly, with all the parties we went to. Listen, I think, people are the same once you give them some good food and good drinks and good music. So I've been very lucky to travel throughout.
Three different continents like Asia, Europe, and here,
Yeah.
North America, right? In
Yeah.
my times, America was one continent. Now, through my daughter, I know it's North America, which is Canada, United States, and Mexico. Yes, Mexico is North America. And South America, right? All the Latin countries and Brazil. Anyway, Spanish speaking countries, I mean. So tell us something that impacted you from each of the places that you went to. What comes to your mind when I say China?
I think about, I don't know, the tradition. There was a lot of, you can see the culture is on their sleeve. You can see a lot of what you could take home to share. I got my friends all chopsticks from the local market. It was really nice that, like, I could bring home a piece of that and tell them about my travels. I didn't learn a lot of the language. Which my friend was teaching English, so she was able to translate a lot of that. Um, but honestly, sharing the food and learning more about how, our differences are, and kind of realizing that the tradition is merged when they immigrate here to the US.
So the food
And
has nothing to do with Chinese food that we eat here?
no, not at all.
No? How is it?
It's a
Tell us.
lot sweeter here. It's a lot sweeter here, more savory there. And the funny thing is actually that they have dumplings for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They don't really have a breakfast as we do. And I'm Irish and just went to England actually this year and had the whole English breakfast, and that's super different. And I know I'm focusing a lot on food, but I think cultures really do express themselves in their
So what did you
in their
have in
cooking.
what do you have breakfast in England? Let's focus on breakfast.
Oh
Dumplings
gosh.
in China, in England.
So usually a steamed dumpling off the cart in China. That's what we had, and then in England, it was a whole full plate: baked beans, a grilled tomato, eggs, toast, muffin. Um, yeah, it was a whole lot of everything of
Energetic
everything.
breakfast.
Yeah, yeah,
Spain. What about
yeah.
Spain?
Spain. I remember getting a lot of those potatoes, the Spanish potatoes. What are they? Tortillas?
Tortilla de patata,
Oh
yeah. And
gosh, oh my
sandwiches,
gosh.
baguettes
The
for
sandwiches,
breakfast.
yeah, the ham and cheese
Yeah,
sandwiches.
good, right?
Oh my gosh.
And what about Mexico?
Mexico, well, those were mostly buffets, and I remember a lot of like the drinks being good, like the mango juice in the morning, pineapple juice. They always had really rich, like natural juices in the morning.
That gives me an idea to embrace everything you can when you travel, right?
Oh,
Have a
try something new.
traditional.
You have to try something new everywhere you travel. Like break out of the barriers. I don't harshly judge people who order just chicken tenders out on restaurants, but I think cuz if there's Alfredo on the menu, I'm ordering it. But you got to cross those cultures.
You have to cross those cultures. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much. This is so wonderful. I love sharing with our guests the different cultures. And when Corissa's younger, when she was much younger, we took her to Spain with us because I thought, like, I wanted to experience something different. And we had a home there, and then we traveled, and we took her with us in our suitcase.
I know.
and
I
then
packed
her
a suitcase in my
and
suitcase.
then her mother came along, so that was wonderful too.
Oh, it was such a blessing. Yes.
So now let's go to our empowerment, right? From everything, from every adversity, every obstacle in life, we can bring out something. On the other side, we come out stronger, even if we don't think about that that's going to happen in the moment, right? And Carissa learned this story, and she always tells me, you guys, everybody, she tells you have to be ready before you die or somebody dies because, like, everything's so emotional, and
Yeah.
then life goes on.
Yeah.
You don't want to, you want it to stop, but life goes on, and suddenly you are in a lot of bureaucratic problems that take a long time to solve. So let's hear about her story and how she got empowered through the pain and what she learned.
Well, speaking on it in empowering, by our trip to Spain, you really did give me the confidence to break those barriers and travel with confidence, and preparation is a huge deal when it comes to traveling, trying something new, or kind of fortifying yourself and your mental preparation of what you're going to do, just like traveling. But with the scary side of talking about death, which is not always easy. I'm not an expert in what we're going to discuss today, but I am very experienced. Within the past year, I have witnessed my grandfather pass at home under hospice care, and then several years ago my dad passed suddenly. So me and my family went through two cases of a sudden death and an imminent death. So today we're just going to talk about how to prepare yourself in those
In
cases,
both
because
cases, right?
yes, because we faced a lot of surprises. A lot of surprises and a lot of logistics that you wouldn't think that you would have to do once someone
So
passes.
let's start with your father. First, it was like on a vacation, was really suddenly, right?
Well,
So
he passed doing what he loves. Yeah, absolutely. He passed while scuba diving.
that's that, but he loved that, right?
He did.
So
He did.
so what happened afterwards?
So he was pronounced dead. And we actually had to bring his body back up from Florida to home,
So that
Pocono,
was
Spain.
harder.
It was because there was a lot of, and so they drove down to Florida, my brother and my mom, so they had to drive back up. My aunt flew down to drive with them back up. So, uh, so there was like kind of a lot of communication there on how it was going, the travel was going to be. But there were a couple days where we were just waiting and trying to, and not knowing what to do. Not that we could do anything at the time. We were younger. We weren't really versed in how how things would be handled. We would wait for mom to come home. Um, but the funniest thing was growing up, my dad would always threaten, "Oh, I'm going to take you out of the will if you mess this up, or if you don't do this, you're out of the will." The man didn't have a will.
Oh my
And
gosh.
that is honestly the worst thing that could happen, because there's a lot of things that aren't clear and that can be muddled with the process. So if honestly, if you are able to get a will as soon as you can, I'm coming into a house and will immediately be getting a will. So the house doesn't go to the bank's hands. If anything happens to me, it will stay in the family. And
So what happened? He didn't have a will, and what other things happened, and how did you solve them?
well, honestly, with that one, I was new to death, especially close to me like that. So my mom was taking care of most of the paperwork and the bank stuff, which is, kind of, she was the beneficiary on everything. So that was clear cut. She was part of the house, clear cut. Everything was pretty fine, because we were a family who, we didn't fight about money. Mom takes care of us. We don't need anything. Like, don't worry about it. But not all families are like that. So I do advise that you have clear, open communication with expectations within the family and how they will view the situation beforehand. Because you need to know where everybody is mentally and coming from, because there can be miscommunications and bad blood that just comes from it, and it's a natural thing. um,
So what was the main thing, that difficulty that you stepped upon, besides not having a will, right? Other the problems that were so hard to solve. I remember you mentioned it sometimes.
right, so hard to solve. Probably just getting him back home and making sure everything was settled on this side of things. You call a funeral home. I was part of picking out the flowers that would go around the coffin and his headstone. I went with my mom to get the headstone and get the plot, which is in Stroudsburg. Um, the will, I'm not sure like how much of a, because the kids or anyone around us wasn't really asking for anything in that moment. It wasn't so convoluted. It was just straight shot. Everything went to mom. She was taking care of everybody
Because they were married.
because
Because
they
if
were
you're not
married.
married, that's another problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great point, Christina, that they were married. If, yeah, that needs to be on paper.
Yeah, those things are important to look. We'll have a lawyer if you're interested at some
Hmm.
point to talk into detail through the legal part. But this is somebody that experienced it firsthand, and one a sudden death, and then a death that was expected, right?
Hmm.
So what happened to your grandfather? And then we'll go through, because all the things that you have to get ready,
Hmm.
and what to expect, the do's and the don'ts.
Right. So we definitely had an updated will for my grandfather. Something that we weren't prepared for was he had a lot of stock accounts that we were finding within his hoarder house from day one, and it's been a year. So there was a lot of things that were hidden from us, which goes into the estate, which he had a will for the estate. Um, he didn't have a wife or anything, but he laid out beneficiaries and percentages within the will. And everybody within the will got a copy of it, and I would highly recommend reading that will and what pertains to you and what you have a right of, and also having communication with the lawyer of the estate. Um, Honestly, the do's and don'ts, they go on the living. What you can do for your family before you pass is get a will. Make sure that within it they're getting what you want them to get, or before, give it to them. When you reach 60 or 65, retiring age, start giving away things, start cleaning out your house, make it easier for your family to tackle what you are leaving behind.
And if you have minors, right, in
Mm-hmm.
charge, then it's important that you have an executor and a tutor,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it is very clear and they have a copy
Yes.
of everything, right? It's important to go through a lawyer with that because then it's like they walk with you through the steps that are legally necessary and that so that everybody has a copy or is contacted and a minor
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to go to, like to
Right.
the social services because there's nobody there, like.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the list that you had prepared. You had prepared a list about the things that you have to do if you are sudden death or to get prepared, right? Sudden death,
Yeah.
we already talked through it, like go through the all the steps. And you
Mm-hmm.
wanna list them again?
Yeah, sudden death is going to be hard, and like I said, it kind of just the preparation falls on while you're living. I mean, my dad apparently he didn't want a will because then he was just asking for it, but he didn't have a will and he got it. So, um, so so when you talk about the logistics of death, those are the practical, administrative, and legal tasks that you have to do after someone passes that's close to you. The immediate tasks we have discussed is getting the pronunciation of death by a professional. You want to notify your family. You want to call through the list of your loved ones. Arrange for the body and call the funeral home that you will be using. Um, so it's funny because like when you call the funeral home, they're going to ask a lot of questions. Not a lot. They definitely know the process, but things that you want to have ready is an obituary to post and to publish. Some people have a in lieu of flowers. For my pop up, he was involved with Quiet Valley, so we asked for people to donate to Quiet Valley instead of flooding us with flowers that we'll have to deal with. Um,
That's a good point.
yeah. Um, like one of my friends, his in lieu of flowers was donating to the local fire company. So honestly, it can be anything that that loved one was passionate about
And
in
that's
life.
practical because you're giving, through the pain, you're giving to something good.
Yeah, you're giving in your loved one's name, and that's their legacy. That's
I
how
love it.
they're
That's
yeah, that's
beautiful.
how they're remembered. So the obituary, and then their tombstone. What's going to be written on their tombstone? Usually, like loving husband, loving wife,
Or
father.
ashes, if you want ashes, right? Where are you going to place
That's
them?
I think that's another thing that falls on the living. You have to communicate how you want to be buried, if you want to be cremated, if you want to become a tree, and like shoot the link to your family members on how you become a tree.
Yeah, yeah. You have to have a living will, that's for sure. And also, you never know because somebody one a friend told me, "Oh, but I'm young, I'm good, I'm not going to die." I said, "But no, you never know what's happening tomorrow. Only when you're close to death or you have an illness or something or an accident, you realize how mortal we are.
Yeah.
And what would you want to do if you die tomorrow? Do you want to write a letter to your loved ones, whatever age, right?
Yeah.
That they can find out. Do you need a will? You want to have a willing will of how you want to be buried, or your if you
Yeah.
want to ashes being cremated or whatever.
Hmm.
What do you want to do with your things? Do you want something precious or special to give it to somebody?
Hmm.
So I think we should all do it, right? As
Yeah.
we're alive and we can write and we're older, we can do it.
Yeah, but if you're young and you're giving away like important things, just be
Don't give them,
careful
don't give
because
them away.
that's a sign of you're gonna take your own life. So just
Don't
be
do that. Don't
careful with
do
what you're
that.
doing and make sure you're clearly communicating. I think clear communication is the most important throughout this. You need to establish who is in the quote unquote no negative connotation inner circle of the family who will be in the will, who will be handling these things as they come. um, so legal and financial task is getting death certificates. You could never have, I think you have to pay for death certificates, but you kind of do want a lot of them, especially if there's like a lot of like stocks or accounts or credit cards. Everyone's going to want a death certificate to name the
Yeah.
beneficiary and
You cannot do
to,
anything
yeah.
without a death certificate.
So you're going to want to pass those along, because I even had bonds to cash in, and my mom gave me a death certificate just in case, to show the bank. Um, so locate important documents, find the will, life insurance policies, and other important legal and
And,
financial.
and talking about insurance, some people, you know what, to bury somebody dead is costly. It's very costly,
It
even if it's
is.
have ashes. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's good while you're alive or to ask older ones or close ones, do you have an insurance, a funeral insurance
Yeah.
or something? Because you have to look into that. Some people agree that's better. Some people say it's not because then, like there are so many, the right
Nuances.
nuances. Yeah, thank you. Nuances. So something that you paid for, maybe it has expired or you have to update it, but make sure that once a year at least you review through everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And have all your important financial documents together, and at least tell, two people in your family who you want to handle that.
And have your funeral expenses, if you can, covered, and that they're very clear, because it's thousands of
I'm
dollars.
gonna be clear. I'm going to be real with you. To bury my dad in a really nice casket, we picked out like the Cadillac of caskets. It was sudden. We were grieving. We wanted the best for him. He would have wanted a wooden box, the way he was so cheap. But that's just the way we did it.
For you.
I think it was around $13,000, Christina,
Wow.
to bury him. With the plot, with the coffin, with the viewing and the service. It was about that.
And you have to be very careful where you go in the funeral home and everything, because sometimes, not always, there are people or companies that take advantage of your grieving moment, that you're in shock or you're grieving. And it happened to me with my mother, right? In
Mm.
Spain, like, she wanted to be cremated, but it was like thousands of dollars because you have to be cremated in a box. So, and then they wanted to take care of the will, and we'll get the house and everything and sell it for you for an amount. And we didn't do it, but everything was, in hindsight, I see what everything was much less,
Mm-hmm.
and they were taking advantage
Mm.
of our grieving
You
moment.
wouldn't think that they would upsell this opportunity, but
It happens.
it does,
You have to be
unfortunately.
prepared. Hopefully it won't happen, but you have to be
And
prepared.
Christina, let me reassure you, once they pass, they don't care.
It's about you.
It's about you.
Closing the
Honestly,
circle.
it's about you and what you can do, what you are able. Your intentions are good. It's not going to affect them, let me tell you.
Yeah. Um anyway, so some of the things also here that we wanted to, I cannot
Sure.
see anything without my glasses.
Yeah.
But some things that also I checked with other people that recently, in the last 2 years, had lost people. Some were very prepared and they still had some
Oh
problems.
yeah. I mean, honestly, you can never be too prepared.
No, so take notes about this. Go to
Do your
GPS, do your
research.
research, talk to others, make a list. Okay.
I was actually also going to suggest like getting passwords together as well. Um,
Have the passwords of your loved ones, right? You trust each other. Hopefully, you trust each other, right?
yeah, or at least like,
Where they are.
give access to where they are, whether it's a locked drawer in a desk or a safe or something. I would just, pick two people you love and trust who are close to you. One would probably be the executor of your estate, and entrust them to handle this information.
And review it every year, because if you have minors, the tutors, the people you trust, the people you give things, the situation of life changes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
maybe as you grow up, your kid will be better with another person than with the one you said, or maybe you change partners, or you want to give it to somebody else, or to
Mm-hmm.
whatever. At the end of the day, I always tell somebody, if you get something, it's like the lottery, right? But nobody owes you anything. It's their will. Okay,
Yeah.
sometimes a part is legal, right? For your kids, you have to, but at the end of the day, it's not worth fighting for money. But
Mm-hmm.
have things ready, and if you get something, it's
Yeah.
yours. And if you don't, well, you don't. You continue with your life, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have the power of your own
It's
life, not the
nothing that
rest.
you've lost. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. You
But
just
some things that some people told me, I mean, that I checked with, like, somebody had they have enough money, but the credit cards were all in the name of the husband, and then the wife was the beneficiary. But when he died, everything was blocked. And although she had money, she didn't have a dime on her name. She didn't have any credit. So while all of this is settled, you might be don't have any money.
Right.
So have your savings, have money on your name, and credit cards only in your own name.
Mm-hmm.
Especially women, or or if you have kids over age, make sure that something's on their name.
Mm-hmm.
If something happens, right?
Yeah, and you may find that you have to pay a lot of inheritance taxes and taxes that just come with being a beneficiary. So having money put aside for that too
Yeah, and
is
something
really
don't,
helpful.
yes, but go to a lawyer and don't accept any inheritance until you know that you will get more than the debt,
Yeah,
because sometimes you inherit the debt only, and then that
yeah,
doesn't make any sense, right?
yeah,
So all of this, you should watch about this. Don't make anything, take any steps without knowing what you're doing, or checking
yeah.
with
Be
a lawyer,
advised. Be advised.
state lawyer, not any lawyer, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, like, one of our family members, the husband died 2 years ago, and they did their will together, so they knew. They went through everything together because it was a long illness and it was going to be expected.
Mm,
However, she still had some problems
mm,
because some bills were only, or utilities were only in his name,
mm-hmm.
right? And she couldn't get the information. They wouldn't give her any information for the electricity because it was under his name.
Were they married?
Or, yeah, or the account was in his name. It's not enough to be married.
Yeah.
Things, they won't give you the information if it's not in your own name.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my lawyers in Spain and here, they always said marriages is for tax purposes more than anything else, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes it's good to be married, and especially
Sometimes.
sometimes, and for the kids too.
That's good. All right.
Okay,
so-
anything else? Let's wrap up this. I think we give you enough information. Start making a list,
I
right?
think we did cover all of our points. And the thing about going back to giving away some of your things when you're older in your 60s is called Swedish death cleaning.
Mm.
Yeah, Swedish death
What
cleaning.
does that mean? Swedish? The Swedish? You go to IKEA or any of these places, everything is very minimalistic, right?
Minimalistic, yeah.
So that mean that take everything away, especially older people, that they are like hoarders, right?
I don't know anything about minimalism. I have no idea.
And you're young.
So that's the practice of older people decluttering their homes and giving away possessions, particularly heirlooms. If you get the family together to practice this, it spares them from the overwhelming task of sorting through their belongings when you're gone.
Yeah, but probably that won't happen while they're alive, because when we're hoarders, right? We don't want to give anything away.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to hoarders. They get buried in a tomb.
Okay, thank you, Corissa, for being with us. We need a break. Now we need a break. I think that you need some time also to make your list of what you have to do.
Yeah,
process
this for sure.
Check a lawyer, state lawyer, have everything in order, because that makes you go to bed in peace, right?
Mm-hmm.
It makes you empowered.
Yeah.
To know that you know what you're doing, what's going to happen to you, have control, and how are you going to take care of the people that you love. Okay?
As simple as that.
We'll be back with Halloween.